Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and we are here for Series 2 of the night. We've got an interesting matchup on our hands, but it involves the number one seed. Kettering University is taking on Oregon Institute of Technology, OIT, as they're better known. The Owls will be hoping for the underdog story of the season, taking down the undefeated team with a 34-round differential, storming ahead in the regular season. Let's take a look, Chief, at the maps we've got tonight. Once again, I am joined by Chief, of course, and he's going to be guiding us through this utterly unbelievable matchup, hopefully, that we're going to see. So, Chief, let's walk us through our map bands.
Oregon Tech needs to do something different, and it's going to start off with their map bans. They need to read into their opponent's Kettering and say, if they have their best map, we need to do VOD reviews, preps for it, and either ban it or actually bring it out today. But I'm already a little bit concerned by the two maps that we currently see, Cafe and Clubhouse. The T3 special is here to play. Now, we just got off at Cafe, but we're going to have a different map too, which is Club. And Club has received a few mounts of turmoil over the past few days or the past few weeks because of the new operators entering the meta and utility consumption simulator being out.
Well, we're going to have to see how that exactly is going to play out. Of course, we've got our Oregon decider if we get to that point. And to get there, OIT are going to have to put on a show the likes that they have not done so far this season. They did not have a lot of incredible matchups. They were able to take down one team, the Triton team, I believe, by a decisive victory was delivered there. But sitting at 2-2, their overall 2-2, their overall regular season record, they're going to have a challenge ahead of them here tonight. I said the ultimate underdog story, and that is no lie. It is going to be a challenge for this 32 seed here tonight. And on Cafe, we may have just been here a few minutes ago, but we're coming right back to Cafe Dostoevsky, and we're going to see the ban phase roll on through. Thatcher will once again not be in play, but we're not going to see a Twitch ban this time. It's going to be more of a typical ban ace. The Selma charges will not be in play.
Malusi rounding out the first of the defender bans, and this is a great position to be in. The whole point the defenders are going to utilize is defending piano for as long as possible. And if you put Malusi's throughout piano, that's going to provide you with an audio call so you can actively swing it or send some type of gadgetry down range. Another operator that is designed to deny entry into piano is Mira. We saw in our previous series how darn oppressive she can be and how it forces the attackers to make adaptations on the fly. We learned one of those adaptations is Blackbeard, but if you ban out that operator at the start of the ban phase, you can wipe the sweat off your brow and not have to deal with it.
Well, the sweat is going to have to come in here from OIT. Like I said before, they will be starting on the attacking half here, and they're going to be bringing a generally default selection of operators. We're going to see the Habana, the hard breacher, to come in play here. And on the defensive side of things, we're going to see the mute come into effect as well. The castle pick here is a little bit interesting, but we are, of course, going to Reading Room and Fireplace Hall. We're starting on the tertiary bomb site, and this is a site that Castle does see a good bit of play. You use those castle barricades upstairs to help with that vertical extension and to make that vertical extension as potent as possible. And I love what Kettering are doing here in round number one. They're coming out of the gate with this tertiary bomb site, with the unexpected bomb site. Possibly Oregon Tech are going to have no idea what they're about to walk into, and that definitely will play into the hands of the better team in this situation. It's going to play into the hands of, because they've got the gun skill to fall back on, and if you catch Oregon Tech off guard, that is only going to do you even more favors.
And to build upon that a little bit more, we've actually seen a lot of rosters elect to go to the tertiary bomb sites first because it's a good way of feeling out the attacking team, understanding how they're going to push. Because most attacking rosters, the best bomb site they are, and the most likely they're winning, or most likely they're going to win on a bomb site, is going to be that tertiary site. So you bring it out, and if the attackers are relatively quick with clearing that third floor and working their way on down, well, you can create a counter strategy when you work your way over to your primary bomb site, which will most likely be upstairs in bar. If you can deny entry into bar, maybe utilizing a mute Mozzie or potentially deployable shield, it will be phenomenal showing throughout not just map 1, but the entire series.
Yeah, and we're going to see this top-down clear have to go down very efficiently if this attack wants to have some success. And early on, it's actually going to find quite a bit of success. Demille is going to find Derp. That's going to be dropping the Goyo out of play early on. It's surprising early pick for a Goyo to be caught out so early, and now Bucka and Papa here are going to be the last players on this upstairs hold, trying to stall out this push as much as they can. A little bit of soft destruction has been employed, but here comes Tech, working their way all the way up to Cocktail now and sledging open this door. And that's going to enable the clear to come down. Here comes Uni on the buck, but there is a Wamai, precariously placed on the side of C3, and is going to have to be quite careful as this take comes through. Now, if Papa were to contest this and find those shots, it would be huge, and an early pick will do that. Another one, and now a headshot delivered. Tech is the next to fall, and the man advantage now just swung heavily in the favor of Kettering as Bucka finds another kill. The headshot delivered with the UMP, and now Oregon Tech are staring down a brutal 2v4.
And this is another very important lesson, but in favor of the attackers. They have realized that they cannot be pushing as individuals. You have to actively clear the cocktail, send your drones down range as your first step, but once you have identified the threat, you push together as a team. But like in our previous series, the attackers get a little bit too caught up in their ways. They get a little bit too tunnel vision, and they just start to rush in the bomb site. That needs to be toned down just slightly, and this is allowing the defenders to get very aggressive with their SMG-11s, sending those shots down range.
Well, no shots will be connecting with Papa yet, and really, Papa is fine to hang out here in Cocktail as long as they wish. There's no need to force that rotate down into Laundry as long as that vertical take is nowhere to be seen. And now dropping down into Pillar, that's Demille, who's going to try to get some traction going from here, but there's a mute to deal with. The shots are missing from both of these players, and neither will find the traction. But the drop into Train Room from Server is going to be looking to find something here, but nobody is presenting themselves. All of the defenders are playing this extremely passively. They're simply just backing off and letting Oregon walk into their graves. Demille will do it, Server will do it, and with out of time, Kettering will take round 1 cleanly.
You can tell that comms and Oregon Tech were chaos throughout that round. And you can tell that through their positioning as players. They weren't holding crossfires and they weren't synchronizing pushes. That is an incredibly difficult skill to learn as an IGL as well as players under an IGL. But nonetheless, it is an asset that you have to be successful as a player in Rainbow Six Siege. It doesn't matter if you're playing at the T3 level or the collegiate level. It is something that is so crucial. And time management as well. That is going to be facilitated by your drones going down range. The drones are going to provide active feedback and information, which will allow you as an attacker to clear out the map.
Yeah, and we saw the top-down clear attempt to go down. You talked about that importance of clearing out the map, and it was something that Oregon Tech was not able to do whatsoever. Really, Kettering did a great job of positioning well, using proper utility on that top floor, and Oregon struggled to get that clear efficiently. The early pick, of course, went in their favor, but when the push went onto Cocktail, they didn't play together. There was no double swing, even though 2 players were in the position. Instead, they fed Papa 2 kills, 1 at a time. And if you have a hard stuck anchor or a hard stuck defender in a very solid position surrounded by utility, you're not going to get anywhere by challenging them 1 at a time and giving them the advantage in every possible gunfight. For Oregon Tech to find their success here on Cafe, a map that generally goes in the favor of a very frag-based team, they need to pull out all the stops. They need to not only play incredibly smart, but they need to play very coordinated and together. We need to see a unit, a 5-man unit storming into sight, not necessarily as a pack, but as a coordinated effort rather than 5 individual players going out on their own and taking gunfights one by one.
The attackers relinquish from their spawn, and they're going to be forced to go upstairs and start to open up these top hatches, taking control of the map, and hopefully learning lessons from our previous series, and understanding that you have to have perfect time management, and Oregon Tech definitely struggled with that in the previous series, or at least their fellows in crime did. But that being said, drones are going to start to work their way down and clear out the map.
Yeah, now they're going to try to get this clear going once again, but it's a clear that's going to be tough. And we're going to see Uni here holding down this red stairs, aware that there is a player possibly off-site, and that would be a correct assumption. There's a Goyo. Derp is holding down Train Room for now, hoping to stall out any possible vertical play that Oregon Tech may try to employ from below. But for now, it is simply a stereotypical vertical take from Oregon Tech, but without the boots on the ground on that top floor yet. More progress is going to have to be made more efficiently if they want this progress to continue to mount. Of course, you have Uni hanging out here on the top of red stairs, but without any piano pressure being applied. You are allowing your defenders to simply hang on out wherever they please on this site. Of course, the logic bomb from the Dokkaebi that's ringing out right now will force the defenders' positions to be known, and Server will use that to their advantage, swinging out here on Nubauk, looking towards the freezer position. You've got a crossfire established here on Nubauk and on Heaven, but you can't deal with Derp, who's playing in hell. And the shots will be delivered onto Server on Nubauk. Sharpshooter has a response onto Anomaly, but already things are collapsing on down. But Sharpshooter finds another. Snappy's the next to fall, and Bucka is now forced to make a response. Papa will do that, finding one, but so will the Dokkaebi. That's Tech, who finds the kill. It's Papa and Derp, and this one is very going in the favor of Oregon Tech all of a sudden.
But the Apex positions are still alive, and man, they haven't been dealt with by Oregon Tech. Ill-advised swings by Oregon might be costing them, but it's now a 1v2, a push to the white stairs, and Papa's gonna bring the man count back to equal. The problem was the diffuser was isolated over by the red drop. That's gonna force Sharpshooter to rotate on through. That's precious time being wasted, and Sharpshooter might be too aggressive. They're right next to each other. Papa sends a single bullet down range, but that's going to alert the final member of Oregon Tech of his position, dancing around the most lethal tango imaginable, but no bullets finally being exchanged. Kettering able to win a round purely off bad time management from Oregon Tech.
Yeah, that one wasn't looking too good from Kettering, but with Papa at the helm of that defense once again, was able to clutch it up and save the team from losing a round early, a round that they would expect or would be expected to take on their defensive half. Generally, not what we saw in our first series, but generally you would expect Cafe to go to that 4-2 split in favor of the defenders. But what we've seen tonight is that all expectations can be thrown out the window tonight, that we are going to see attacker-sided maps. We are going to see attacker-sided chaos on Cafe and Oregon and any map that is thrown in front of us. But for now, it is not attacker-sided. It is defender-sided. It is Kettering-sided. 2 rounds under their belt.
We're going to see a cap cannon play for the first time in a very long time. Now, a lot of people think Capcan is a cheese operator where he isn't good, he doesn't provide any utility, and in most scenarios, you're right. However, if you're doing an extended roam and you're trying to force the attackers to clear you out, Capcan charges throughout the map can be phenomenal, because you get an audio cue if they've been detonated, but more importantly, you get an audio cue if they've been shot. And if you're a cutting defending roster, you can set those in positions where you can go straight for the wide swing and kill the player, destroying your Capcan charges. So they're an opportunity for free damage down range, but they're an opportunity to also get, well, kills off that.
And we're going to have to see Kettering play a little bit cleaner here. That kind of style of play that we saw from them in round 2 isn't going to find them a lot of success going forward. They know now that Oregon Tech have come here to play, and Oregon Tech can find the kills if you are going to give them the opportunity to take them. And so Kettering are no doubt going to be playing a little bit closer to the chest here, going to be playing a little bit more passively, most likely, given that they are now knowing what OIT is bringing to the table here. They know OIT is prepared, and they know that if they're presented with a gunfight that favors their position, they're going to capitalize, and they are going to take those kills. We have got a Lion in play now instead of the Dokkaebi from the last round. An interesting pick, but one that has seen some use, all the way up to the likes of Pro League and T1. You can use Lion very properly in competitive Siege if you do it well, like many operators, but it's tough to get right, especially for young teams with inexperienced IGLs who don't know exactly how to make that Lion work for them. Ideally, you'd want to use it for your roam clear and help that roam clear to go down, but what's going on right now is a direct first floor push, and you're allowing Bucka and Derp to have full roam of these top two floors.
Yeah, vertical destruction is going to be the answer to Oregon Tech's prayers. You can remove the defenders from their hidey hole, and basically one of the strongest positions is going to be Java. And if you open it up with your Bucker and have a nice long line of sights. Now, Bucka, the defender playing Capcan, was on that extended roam over by Heaven. He was alerted that there's defenders on the east side of the map. He attempted to swing the brown stairs, and that's where the problem lies. He needed to swing with his teammate who was pushing down the white stairs. And Oregon Tech is having an open season as they're picking players off one by one. But make sure you're prepared for the flank. Derpa gets a nice kill, defender surrendered, and everybody in Oregon scrambling.
Well, they are scrambling, but they do have an overwhelming man advantage here. Well, as I say that, Uni down but not out. Anomaly over-aggresses on that swing just to throw a Toxic Babe out to deliver the kill. And the double res now going down with a utility to support it. And now we do have 4 Oregon Tech attackers now back in play. And with only 3 defenders and the time starting to go in the favor of them, this is still very possible for Kettering to win this one out. But to do so, they're going to need some flashy plays, some good double kills on this site for these anchors. Derp is on the flank as well and will find another kill, not before Demille could find Anomaly. Papa with another, that's the 416 to find Uni. And now we're back in a 2v2. All of a sudden, Kettering are crawling back, and Derp with the retake finds a double and a 4K on the round, and Kettering, they look good in round number 3. They didn't look clean, but they look good enough to pull the round out from OIT, and it looked good from OIT early on, but they just could not pull it through when it came down to the wire.
Kettering is just winning their ones. That's what it's simply coming down to. Oregon Tech has done a pretty strong job of identifying the bomb site, identifying the utility, and removing the utility. When defenders realize that some of their strongest parts of their defense has been removed, the defenders stand up and start to shoot back. And Oregon Tech shoots back even better. But they have skipped steps throughout the round, particularly those flank drones, whether or not they're on the brown stairs, red stairs, or white stairs. Because if there was a flank drone on white stairs, Derp would not have been able to find that impact frag on Lion, and the entire round would have been different because a 4K would have been shut down. We're talking about bringing out your tertiary bomb site to be a litmus test to gauge the attackers, and so far it's working phenomenally for Kettering.
Yeah, that litmus test, really, the results that Kettering got were, we don't have to play too close to the site because we win those ones, and our individual players can shine. I mean, did we think we would see a Goyo on a roam getting a 4K in round number 3? No, you probably would not have predicted that. But Kettering, they are okay with these more unorthodox roams, these interesting strategies that they're bringing to the table, because based on that litmus test, like you said, Chief, it will work for them. It has worked for them, and they're going to continue to employ similar strategies going forward. And that's why we're seeing a little bit of an extended roam and odd positioning from Derp, who is going on that roam on that first floor, despite it being that top floor hold, that vertical hold for this tertiary bomb site.
Derp was actually in the first floor in our first round, and he was gunned down because he was on cameras. So hopefully he's learned his lesson and is going to adjust that, where he has one of his on-site players relegated to camera duty. Traditionally, that is your support player, your Maestro, or an Echo who's on that. Now, you don't have a true Maestro or Echo in play, so it's going to come down to your smoke player to be tasked with flipping through the cameras. Also, those outside, you have to understand how the attackers are pushing. Sure, you can use your sixth sense to say, they're going to be clearing from the west side of the map, but that's not going to be good enough, as vertical holes are going to be the undoing of a member of Oregon Tech, Sharpshooter, as he just sends himself through the drop.
And Derp is going to continue that pressure. The Goyo roam success is overwhelming and resolute so far. Only 3 attackers now remain. Once again, they're staring down a brutal cocktail hold and a very elusive Derp. And a Derp who is going to rain C4 from below. Demille's going to get cut down. You've lost your last remaining hard breacher, your only hard breacher, in fact, and it is up to Tech and Server to make this one happen. It's not going to be easy. You've got your nomads, you've got some utility, but with lacking in drone utility and lacking in man count, a 2v5 is a nearly impossible situation. The question is, how much will Kettering get aggressive on this, knowing that they have this advantage? A mature team would just play passive and play no different than they've played so far, and it appears that Snappy will be doing that. We'll be playing patient behind a shield and will deliver the kill onto the player, solo pushing up into train room. Another C4 from below will deliver Kettering to a flawless round 4, continuing their streak of unbeatable performances.
It seems like Georgia Tech is petrified, shaking in their boots. They're playing as individuals, they're clearing the map as individuals, and sadly, they're not going to be buried with their mates. They're being buried as individuals. Cafe is such a difficult map to take control of, particularly on reading room, because teams' defensive rosters are expanding upstairs. So, what does that mean you have to do as an attacker? Well, you clear the map. You put a minimum 3 attackers upstairs, one actively challenging Heaven, one challenging the double door of Cocktail, and one challenging Pixel. You push together. Your other attacker is going to be looking towards the red stairs to hold the flank watch. And then that final attacker is going to be another flank watcher cycling through cams, being a utility burn and just a flex operator in the overall execute. Georgia Tech is skipping every single one of those steps, and as a result, they won't be successful until they play as a unit.
Yeah, I mean, it's the classic discussion of playing as a unit that Oregon Tech are going to need to get under their belt here, because they need to be able to clear out some of these Kettering defenders and those elusive Kettering defenders as well. I mean, if they're roaming, you've got to figure out where they're positioned and get the manpower to those positions to remove them. And if they're a hard, stuck anchor, you need to figure out exactly how much utility you're dealing with and then perform a classic utility dump directly towards that anchor and remove them from their hard, stuck positions. We've seen how Oregon is struggling with that on the cocktail takes when they're going for that tertiary bomb site attacks, and we saw how they struggled with it last time they attacked this site and had to deal with the pressure from those freezer players and that bathroom player, Papa, who ended up clutching it up in that 1vx situation. So Oregon Tech, if they emulate some of the success that they had in the last time we were here in round number 2, things will be going well for them, because they did a great job starting it off last time. They found the right long angles to challenge. They found the right areas to be peaking, and they got a bunch of kills with it. But what they didn't get was a round win, because the coordination broke down, the togetherness broke down, and they're going to have to continue to improve upon that every single round if they want to pull out a couple of rounds here.
I spy with my little eye a Derpa underneath one of the top hatches of Nitrocell prepared. Nobody from Oregon Tech has even attempted to open them as of yet, and this might be a huge oversight. Sharpshooter has the pistol, not the pocket shotgun, and members of Oregon Tech are once again shaking in their boots. They haven't yet determined where they want to push from, and as a result, 60 seconds has evaporated into thin air. Bucca's going to get the first casualty, and members of Oregon Tech have elected to go for an East Cocktail execute, but they've made the determination far too late in the round, and they're already starting to lose their man count.
As the Dokkaebi now eliminated, you've lost those frag grenades, and you've lost a bit of potential information gaining. The C4 will rain up through the skylight, and it will not find its true target. Derp, positioned here comfortably in Cigar and Humidor, is just searching for some kills, looking to find more of that earlier aggression, that earlier success that Derp was able to find. Sitting at 7-2 now as a Goyo. It is simply incredible. Now 8-2 as Demille. The Yana pushing up from brown stairs will be finally removed from play as well. And now with 1 minute remaining, the hatches on the top of the building will now finally be open, and now the dump is pouring on through this red stairs hatch. Here comes Uni dropping on down, but will no defenders giving away their positions or providing any free kills. Oregon Tech are going to have a tough time here. But as I say that, Derp is caught out, his position was discovered, and the kill was landed with the F2. But with 30 seconds left, a push now without any utility being cleared from the site is nearly impossible.
The motif of this series so far has been Oregon Tech incredibly slow with their roam clears, and as a result, they've been forced to challenge in every possible gunfight. And here comes the barrage of utility by the defenders of Kettering. It's just those lambs going to the slaughter one by one. Oregon Tech is crumbling. They need to find a foothold in this round, and Shift Wing into the bomb site is not the foothold they need.
Not the foothold they need is absolutely correct, Chief. I mean, we're not seeing Oregon Tech make any adjustments, really. We're seeing some similar strategy round after round, and that strategy would be continue to try to pester a couple of those tough positions that you know defenders are in. But what Kettering are doing is being elusive. They're not playing that same identical strategy. They're playing loose, they're playing confident, and they have reason to be. Papa and Derp are sitting at 8 kills. Papa hasn't even died yet, sitting at 8-0. That's simply an incredible position to be and definitely fills somebody with confidence. And that confidence in Siege just helps you swing those angles and click those heads even more. And Papa is continuing to be a threat, and a threat that can't even be felled once. And so now, in round number 6, the ultimate defensive round for Kettering will be heading back towards the basement. Kettering is looking to complete that full sweep, all 6 sites, and with Papa getting a few drones off the board early, as Oregon Tech are throwing away their valuable utilities so early on, things are already looking good for Kettering.
That was heartbreaking watching those little roly-poly drones just drive all the way into kitchen. And drive no longer, as 30% of the drone economy that Georgia Tech had is no longer anywhere in... Yeah, you're right, Oregon Tech. We had Georgia Tech earlier today, so too many tech schools. And again, I'm a finance major. I'm too dumb to be an engineer, so that's why we mix it up over here. So, yeah, get your BSs, guys. Best way to be in college. That's pro tip for you. But nonetheless, in round 6, Oregon Tech has to make the adaptations. It's going to start with that drone economy, and losing 30% of it isn't the answer to the prayers. They also need to clear methodically that third floor, working their way down, having pre-staged drones, and that's going to start with boots on the ground in the first 2 minutes and 25 seconds of the round, and the attackers aren't even on the roof yet.
No, the attackers haven't fully decided exactly where this take wants to be. We saw them all spawn out towards the bakery side, but they assessed the situation, and they've elected to go for a white stairs take, a garage take, what looks like it could become a freezer take eventually. Unfortunately for them, there are 2 defenders to deal with. That it would be Bucka and Dirt. Bucka on the Mozzie will find that first pick from your default main stairs angle, the one that everyone can come to expect and know that you have to deal with when you're coming in from garage. The C4 from Derp trying to find anybody else who's pushing on through, but it will find nothing, as the pressure from the other side will force Derp to be a bit more cautious with their positioning. And the Finka coming into play will deliver Derp to his early grave. So already we're going to see a little bit of progress here from Oregon Tech. They're sitting at a 4v4 equal man advantage, but without map control, Bucka has free roam and is going to work a flank eventually, and a flank that, unless these air jabs are properly placed, is going to be quite painful for every Oregon Tech attacker.
Snappy is going to lose a little bit of HP in his bomb site. I believe that's vertical pressure working their magic and starting to basically remove members of Kettering one by one in systematic fashion. But Oregon Tech has once again made a fatal mistake. They haven't dealt with the offside pressure, and Bucka is still upstairs on the 3rd floor, roaming over by heaven. He's in a great position to rotate from behind and shoot members of Oregon Tech in the back when he has the appropriate calls on sight by his other 4 teammates.
And Snappy is going to be holding this aggressive position here in prep. One we've seen a couple of times, actually, and Snappy is not known. The swing is going to find one, but only down the Finka. And the Finka, of course, has that ability to boost their teammates, but not herself. But right now, Snappy has been found the grave, in fact, and now Bucka will be forced to come back to site to support the remaining Kettering defenders. The man advantage is heavily in the favor of Oregon Tech here, especially with a Finka boost, which gives them even more HP to work with. But Anomaly is here to shut that down. The SMG-11 finds its target true. That's one. That's Uni the first to fall. Anomaly finds a second, the head of Demille. Bucka on the flank finds another. And the last remaining player, that is Sharpshooter, could do nothing but died to the SMG-11 of Anomaly, a clean 3K from the smoke, a clean solo sight hold in the closing seconds will make it so that Kettering takes a 6-0 lead, a flawless defensive half going into their attack on Cafe.
And sure, this map is extremely defender sided. We've actually seen 6-0s on this map before in professional play and deliver us into overtime. And the team that had the most defensive rounds, well, was the team that ended up winning. So it is a full possibility. However, I have a suspicion that Oregon Tech's mistakes are from their inability to play as a roster. Now, on defense, it is a lot easier to play as a cohesive team because you more or less know the zone in which you're going to be playing and covering, and you can just play off your teammates when they feel pressure. You can help them. And another operator to help facilitate that style of play will be the Capcan. However, I think it's just a reactionary play to Kettering winning their ones.
And Kettering shows all signs of continuing to win those ones and continuing to demolish Oregon Tech here on Cafe. And I think the operator selection we're seeing from Oregon Tech and the variability of it, this is an absolutely viable opportunity for them. They have, generally that core group of operators. You have a ton of information at your fingertips, and you've got your cap cans as well. An unorthodox pick, but one that we saw from Kettering on their defensive half, and one that must be respected regardless of their position. And now, with the assistance of those Valk camps and with the assistance of those Evil Eyes, of course, Oregon Tech absolutely have what it takes theoretically to bring this back. But given what we've seen so far, given that Kettering, despite being down in man disadvantaged situations and winning those every single time, there's really no hope here, or at least no sign of hope for Oregon Tech to bring this one through. Maybe we can get some flashy plays in there. Maybe we can get one-star player to break out and shine, because that would definitely ramp things up for Oregon Tech. It would help them get their minds in check, that mental game going before we get to map 2.
It's going to be a tall order for Oregon Tech. Or, yeah, Oregon Tech, but it's something they're totally capable of. A huge oversight in the round will be Redwall not being reinforced. Server forced to rotate away. That oversight and utility might just cost the Capcan his entire life. Couple that with the drones that are starting to go down range, as well as the hologram. Things are looking desperate for the members of the orange roster. But a quick wide swing from the Valkyrie, able to find one. The refrag is instantaneous from Papa, and the Capcan's not providing as much utility. And something incredibly important to note is Kettering has so much destructive utility, those Maestro cameras are good as dead.
As are Tech and Sever, I guess you could say, Chief. They're as good as dead as well. They're relegated to camera duty, and they're going to have to be keeping a good, watchful eye on those Evil Eyes, a watchful eye on those Valkyrie cams. But Uni with the Alda, the 81 bullets, providing too much for Bucka to deal with, and Bucka's head taken clean on off, but Papa has a swift response. That's Uni now finding the grave. It is Demille, and it is Sharpshooter left to do all the work, but that's Anomaly finding the headshot. It's time for the 1v3 clutch. This is the moment this individual has been waiting for. Now returning back to the site for the first time, looking to make something happen, but the crossfire established, and the headshot delivered. An Anomaly will take Kettering to a clean 7-0 decisive victory here in map number 1.
We have seen 7-0s before, but never in postseason. Kettering is showing that they're a team capable of greatness, and they're going to deliver greatness no matter who their competition is. They're always going to give you 120%. And you can see that Oregon Tech is also giving 120% in this game. However, their 120% is not large enough to break down Kettering. A few people were saying in chat that Kettering was going to 7-0. I'm always in favor of the underdogs. I want the underdog story because that's what makes sports and esports interesting. But Oregon Tech needs to utilize this next 5 to 10 minute break that we're going to be diving into soon as a buffer to break down what went wrong in map 1 and learn those lessons and apply it to map 2.
We're going to have to see a bit of a change from Oregon Tech. We're going to have to see them refocus, get in the zone, find a leader to take that team to the absolute edge if they can and get them to that competitive point. Of course, Kettering is a very tough team to deal with. It's a very tough team to conquer, as is on display here tonight. But we're going to see how map 2 will play out after a quick break. So stick with us, and we're going to see how Kettering and Oregon Tech continue to fight it out. We will be right back.
Postseason CR6 is back with another series midway through Kettering versus Oregon Tech. In map number 1, it was Kettering bringing the dominance at a quick 7-0. Will they be able to replicate that here as we dive over into Clubhouse? My name is Chief Cass, and my partner in crime is the lovely mythical Jay-Z.
Well, appreciate the intro, Chief. And well, I'm hoping for a good map. We saw the way it played out on Cafe, and while it wasn't that surprising to see the 1 seed do what they did to that 32 seed, I gotta be honest with you, Chief. I was hoping that OIT could get something going. I always love an underdog story just like you. I want to see Oregon put up a fight here on Clubhouse. I want to see them take a couple of rounds and make Kettering nervous, make them panic a little bit, make them go like, "Oh gosh, we have to sweat. We have to work for this victory because that is the most fun you can have in Siege, sweating it out for a grind of a win." But in map number 1, that's not what we saw. So as we get into this ban phase, as we got that Thatcher, that Jackal, that Goyo off the board, you know what I'm hoping to see, Chief.
Cade is a sensible ban. However, since you have Maverick in play, you don't necessarily need to bring out the Cayenne, and the Malusi will fall as the final ban. This is going to be an interesting round for the attackers since they have Maverick in play, and the best attacking team is going to be the roster that ends up winning. Maverick tricking is an art, and even at the professional level, there are certain soft foot supports that haven't yet perfected that skill. Now, this is one of those bomb sites and maps where you, in theory, could be bringing out three hard breachers, where Maverick is going to be kind of a pseudo hard breacher, where he's going to be a wall opener. He's going to help facilitate opening up those walls, whether or not it's making a circle with his Maverick torch and sending a grenade down range, or if it's just drawing a line with your Maverick torch on the top and bottom and then blowing up the side of the wall.
I like what you said that Maverick tricking is an art. And I think, we see teams struggle with that sometimes. It takes people longer than others to get a wall open, but we're not going to see that full artistry come into play here on round number 1. We've got Ace bringing the Selmas, and we've got Thermite, those exothermic charges, as our hard breach operators of choice. We also have a Fuse, which is an interesting pick, but one that can be quite useful, especially on that basement attack. But lo and behold, we will not be attacking the basement. It's the tertiary bomb site to start things off once again. Chief, you said it, the litmus test for Kettering to see exactly what Oregon Tech are going to bring to the table here on Clubhouse. Kettering opted for Cafe, and Oregon Tech opted for Clubhouse. So you would expect them to come out of the gate strong. Their attacks need to be put together. They need to be coordinated. And on a map that they elected to go to, I would expect them to have a little bit of that extra coordination than we saw on Cafe.
And that coordination is going to be incredibly key when clearing out the east side of the map. That is going to be cache CCTV, where members of Kettering have expanded into, and they're going to be holding for as long as possible. This is going to force the rotation of soft breachers on over to remove the eastmost wall, and then becomes the hard part. It's actually opening up the cache box the defenders have preset. A Nitro Cell is going to go down range. It is far too early to be effective. That is a great tool of wasting hard breachers or actually killing the recipient of the hard breacher. But Uni hasn't heard that. He's in a desperate position. Now he can hear that beeping, and I might look in the right direction to save his life.
Well, the one danger here is that the Buck is pushing this completely on their own. There's no immediate support from a teammate, no teammate in the surrounding vicinity whatsoever. The only player supporting will be Sharpshooter from below, and that will be helpful eventually, but it doesn't even matter. Seems that Uni can do all the work on their own. That is Derp off the board. The player that did the Goyo roam on Cafe, opting for the mute in round number 1 and opting to find their early grave. But Bucka is still a factor. Bucka on this castle, another common operator you'll see on this cache extension, but here comes the flash grenades, and here comes the Buck on the swing, but it's the Super Shorty for the kill, and another one. That's a double kill with the Super Shorty in the castle. That's Bucka on the hunt for more. The C4 now going to be shot out, and now Oregon Tech find themselves on the back foot once again after an unsuccessful cache push.
That was a spicy series of events for both of these teams, but Oregon is once again suffering with playing as individuals and thus dying it. But the control of the North Stairs might be good enough as a sprint challenge comes on through for Demilla as he's now lost in the grave. It's a 1v4 stuck on the Logi hatch with nowhere to go. This is a perfect time for Oregon Tech to take a timeout. Sure, it's early on in map number in round 1, but you need to identify what is going wrong. Obviously, the due diligence was not met in round in the previous map, as well as in the few minutes we had off between maps. But nonetheless, we're going to see an attempt to go on through. It'll be purely in vain as Bunka finishes him off.
Well, a successful tertiary bomb site victory here for Kettering. The litmus test completed, and now they can really get down to business. They're going to be heading to one of those more preferred bomb sites, your CCTV and Cache, or your Church and Arsenal next. Both of these sites lethal for any attacking team. They're very easy to defend for the most part, but teams have quite a bit of experience attacking these sites and quite a bit of knowledge as to how to best approach them. And as such, the tertiary bomb site can actually be often one of the more effective and defensive sided sites to hold. Not purely defensive sided, say, every single time it is defended, but if you look at the overall scheme of a map, tertiary bomb sites actually often get a higher chance of being that defensive sided site on a map in terms of overall percentage, simply because when you do see the tertiary bomb site in play, it's simply because you've got a dominant defensive team and a struggling attacking team. And that simply means that they're going to be able to take any bomb site, not just a tougher one that you throw at you. They can still get those under their belt as well. Now, at the end of there, I'm not sure if I made complete sense, but Chief, I think you've got my meaning. I think you understand that we're seeing that increase in meta of those tertiary bomb sites being involved simply because attacking teams don't always know the best way to approach them.
And also, that statistic might be a little bit weighted because you go to your primary bomb site and secondary bomb site a lot more. So if you go to your tertiary bomb site less frequently and you win it more frequently, well, it's going to look like it has a larger win rate. The great example of this is actually Barroom Stock, which is technically on paper the best bomb site in the entire map pool because it was played twice and was won both of those times. It's a 100% win rate, which obviously is incorrect. And that's why most statistics have, I think it's a minimum of 10 to 15 rounds to wait in, but that's still a strong point. Members of the defense are going to be caught off on a bad roam. Buck is going to use a little bit too much of his HP, but instead of rotating back to safer grounds, he's going to go all in on his strategy, holding mouse 1 and fishing for members of Oregon Tech. One of them has been caught, and no more bait on his rod, forced to rotate away.
Well, we're seeing Kettering here give in to that individual style of play that Oregon are presenting them with. I mean, this is something that can happen a lot. If you see a lot of individual try to Hail Mary style plays, sometimes you counter that with some Hail Mary plays of your own. And often that is how you can find some success. But Derp, as with Bucka, they will not find that success on those individual plays. The extension onto Raptors from the Rook is actually going to find their early grave here. An Anomaly will be the player elected to take up that position that the fallen Rook has left behind. And now, about a minute 40 left in this round, we are going to see the attackers now regroup and decide exactly where they want to make this approach from. Often you need to get open that CCTV wall first. After, you can decide exactly where that crossfire needs to come from. Is it going to come from construction? Is it going to come from the Raptors side? Either way, you have to take control of a tough portion of the map. Either that master side and into construction or that Raptors position. Both of these, easy to defend, hard to attack, and require very good coordination. The likes that Oregon Tech are struggling to make happen. Another individual push up the red stairs will be for naught, as Tech will find the grave delivered by the AUG of Snappy.
No hard breach has been successful as of yet. The east breach is going to be hard. This is going to prompt a full rotation from Oregon Tech all the way over to the west and do a construction take. We've seen teams be successful in this endeavor before, but it's very risky and it requires you to win all of your gunfights. Deployable shields facing towards the west is going to be a minigame the attackers are going to have to deal with sooner rather than later, but the apex position for Kettering is going to find a kill as Toxic Babes are being whipped down range and choking members of Oregon Tech into their 6-foot grave. Father Time is going to make this worse and worse as every second of that clock is just showing that Oregon Tech has been struggling throughout this series, finding the synergy and the communication to be successful in a round. The shift W sprint from IQ is going to be the undoing of that operator, and it all comes down to nothing as a well-placed shotgun shot ends the round for Kettering as they just keep heating up and heating up. The firestorm of Kettering is unstoppable.
It simply is unstoppable. And you mentioned Father Time, the 11th man, coming into so much effect for all of this OIT team's attacks. And that is simply due to the lack of coordination that you and I have talked about in great depth, Chief, where we're seeing Oregon struggle with that immediate and coordinated pressure. And because of that, the time can absolutely slip away from you. There isn't a lot of the time on the clock at the beginning of the round. By the time you get your drones, you're done with your drone phase, you're getting onto the building, you're opening up the roof. All of a sudden, a minute has been burned. And so you have 2 minutes to get from the roof of the building to in the site and get the diffuser down. And for a team, if you struggle with coordination, that makes it very, very challenging to do exactly that. Because with the proper use of utility, any defensive team, especially on Clubhouse, a defensive sided map, can make great use of a stalling strategy. All you need to do on defense is play time, play out the clock. And with a team like Oregon Tech that is seemingly struggling to get the coordination enough to get fast, efficient attacks, well, it's all she wrote. It's going to be another clean defense for Kettering if Oregon Tech don't make something happen here.
What concerns me the most about Oregon Tech is their lineup they're bringing. They are bringing one hard breacher, Habana. She is the queen of top pouches, which is wonderful, but so is Maverick. And instead, Oregon Tech is electing to bring the Cali. Cali is another opera that facilitates opening up walls, but you have a Maverick available to you. Maverick wasn't banned. Your opponent's Kettering removed Jackal instead of Maverick. So the top hatches should be free reign for the attackers to open up. However, it might be the opportunity cost of utility really hurting Oregon Tech as they seem to be really tunnel visioned in their executions.
Well, the tunnel vision is always a problem when dealing with an offsite pressure or you're dealing with a lot of utility that you're not used to dealing with from a particular position. But in the case of a church and arsenal attack, sometimes that tunnel vision can be a little bit helpful, or at least when applied properly. You talk about it as the French style of attack, Chief, where you lock off main hall. You get the kitchen hatch opened right away, and you smoke it off, and you go straight for a plant. Now, I wouldn't consider that fully tunnel vision, but that direct, very focused approach onto this bomb site can often yield very surprising results. You can find quite a bit of success if you employ that strategy properly. And so far, we're not going to see a full map clear. We're going to see them lock off this kitchen position and go straight for the site. But with a C4 from below, Anomaly finds one. Uni has the response. That's Papa to be cut down eventually. But sitting with four defenders or four or eight operators now remaining on total in this field here, we're going to have to see Oregon Tech bring out some miraculous plays because there's a lot of hard stuck defenders who are happy to wait this one out.
The most important part of the French style of execute, though, are those smoke grenades that cut off lines of sight. Your job is to isolate the armory bomb site, but you can only accomplish that so much with brute force. The other part of it is going to be denying access to the site, and most defenders are going to be too petrified to Stewie 2K their way through a smoke. And once that happens, you have free range of entering in the bomb site. You cut down long lines of sight and you cut down angles. Now, Oregon Tech has done a great job. They were a little slow on their initial execute, but with Cali sniper rifles and Oregon Tech taking control of blue, it's a perfect access into the bomb site. They've set up crossfires. It looks like Oregon Tech is a completely different roster. Here in round 3, they're playing together, they're synchronizing, and they're pushing. And now it's on a lone SMG-11 Pro against 2, the sprint challenge. And Oregon Tech is finally here to play in this series. They weren't able to find a round win in map number 1, but they finally accomplished their goal in map 2.
Oregon Tech is on the board, and with one round under their belt, one could hope that they use this momentum and they storm on forward. The key crux of that round and the brilliance of it from Oregon Tech was the blue push. They forced the generator player to be down, and Derp made a fatal mistake, pushing into blue in a hopeful attempt to revive the fallen comrade, but instead ended up falling into a grave of their own, a crucial mistake, and it all cascaded from there. Oregon Tech, they did not fall off the gas pedal there. They stepped on it harder. They pushed into sight decisively when they saw the opportunity, and they popped some heads along the way. So we saw a glimpse of glory from Oregon Tech there, a glimpse of what a potentially strong attack could be. We saw more coordination than ever from them. And if they continue that, if they're able to find some more of that coordination, maybe, just maybe, we could see them get a couple more rounds on the board here on Clubhouse.
The coordination is going to have to start with their execute over on the east side of the map. That's going to be taking control of CCTV, followed up quickly by the cash box. And the defenders of Kettering are once again going to put majority of their utility over in defending this. Now, what concerns me about the strategy that Kettering is currently utilizing is the fact that they aren't shooting the top part of those walls and they're not bringing any type of impact grenades. Again, the whole purpose of this east side extension is to waste time, but more importantly, waste that hard breach utility. If you can destroy the majority of those Habana X Cairo pellets on the other side of the map, then it's going to be impossible for her to utilize them over on the spa side. But Oregon Tech is going to say, we don't want the east side of the map. We only want spa in the west.
Well, this take is now going to come from the west, like you mentioned, Chief, and they're going to be looking to apply a little bit of vertical pressure, or hope to do so, but the hard floor will make that impossible, as vertical pressure cannot be applied through there. And there's a Papa, a Jaeger, on the roam. That's going to be a player to pay attention to. We saw Papa get tremendous success on map number 1, refusing to die even for the majority of the map. And now we're going to see him on that extended roam, hoping to make that presence felt another way. But Sharpshooter is very prepared for this. They know there's something fishy going on. They know there's a player coming up from secret. And so Sharpshooter is going to be aimed right at the floor. And so Papa will capitalize on that opportunity, find the head of Sharpshooter, and off-screen DeMille will also be taken down by Bucka. So 2 big early picks going in the favor of Kettering. And once again, Oregon Tech, they're taking fights one at a time. And for no surprise, well, it's not working.
I have no idea why Sharpshooter left stocks. He saw the laser sight of Papa. He knew Papa was there, and instead of holding the tight angle, he elects to alt-walk crouch into the middle of lobby. Perplexing strategy, and it didn't work out at all for him. And you can see Oregon Tech starting to scramble. They realize they can't execute on the west, so they're going to full send into CCTV. The rotation's a little late. Missed shots by Papa has thrown the round, potentially for Kettering. It's a nice opening in the round for Oregon, but they still have to find more impact frags. And with Bucket filling in the gap of his fallen teammate, Oregon still needs to push harder.
Well, it's going to be nearly impossible now, as you've got Tech at about 10 HP, and you've got a derp directly in your way. That's Mute just holding this down. MP5K happy to just hold this down and refuse to leave. But the flashbangs are going to go in using their old purpose of actually flashing stuff, and Uni's going to look for the shots as a result. But they will not connect. In fact, it will be Derp and Bucka, the Wombo combo, to eliminate the remaining Oregon attackers. And Kettering, they look strong still, and they delivered another decisive victory, returning to form.
I feel bad just bringing up the mistakes that Oregon Tech is making because they keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That's just not the way to approach life as well as Rainbow Six Siege. You need to learn from your mistakes, learn why rounds aren't going your way, and create a counter strategy. Because if you bring out the exact same strategy, the exact same execute, and expect it to work exactly like you did on paper, it's just not. You need to trial and dry run these strats over and over again until you have a confident in your strategies. And it just looks like Oregon Tech hasn't found the confidence they need to be successful on attack. Now, this map is defender sided, and Oregon Tech has won 1 round on attack. So they aren't fully lost yet. They still could be successful, but the attacks they've had on Jim and the last time we were on CCTV was a little shaky.
And normally when you see a team sitting at 1 round at this point and round number 5, you would consider this, not a job well done, but this is par for the course. You've got a round under your belt, and you would expect them to be equally as strong on their next attack on that site that they were able to win before. Maybe we're going to see Church and Arsenal again, and maybe it will be Oregon Tech who find a way to take that. And if you say we're sitting at 4-2 at the half, this would look awfully like a normal game. This would not be anything surprising. It wouldn't be a trouncing by any means. 4-2 on Clubhouse, starting on your defensive side, is par for the course. It is what you need to do as a defensive team, and that is exactly why I love what you said earlier, Chief, that you win Clubhouse on your attack. That is where you make your pressure known. That is how you separate yourself from your opponents. And if Oregon Tech can just get one more round, or even two, but let's just say they get one, and then they move ahead to their defensive half and they know what it takes to defend this site, they could be looking very good for them.
Kali is being in play, but the problem is invulnerable Kai is in positions that you can't destroy him. Oregon Tech needs to bring out a Maverick. They need to learn their lesson. Now, Bucka has been very aggressive, sometimes too aggressive, and he just finds himself walking around the map and getting slammed as a result. Vertical holes work both ways. The attacker sent skeleton keys vertically and through stock, and an SMG-11 Bro is going to now occupy that. You can see Oregon Tech forced to rotate back into the secret stairs, kind of losing all of the map control they had. And it's going to be on Oregon to regroup as a roster and attempt to push together. Maybe since you have so much time in your back pocket, you just go full send now and try to catch Kettering off guard.
With only 2 remaining attackers, catching anybody off guard here is going to be nearly impossible, because not only do you have Vault cams, but sound cues are everything in Siege, and there is no absence of sound. As Anomaly will find the head, the SMG-11 will go burr, another sound cue, but that's only a sound cue for Tech to realize that their teammate has been taken down to the grave and relegated to camera duty for the remaining minute and 10 seconds of this round. We've seen a Kali clutch it up before. As tough as this SMG may be to control and use, it isn't impossible, but it is when you've got Papa bearing down on you from above. The Valkyrie delivering those final blows, and Kettering finding another round in a decisive manner once again.
You're not a fan of the Pocket F2?
Not a huge
gnarly. I love that thing. It's better than the CZ that has 2 blocks for iron sights, and it's like, good luck lining those up. It's basically just spray and pray. Like, sure, your ADS, but it really doesn't match it. Now, something that could be interesting that the defenders could attempt is maybe you bring out a pocket hard breach. And refresh my memory, do the baby pocket hard breachers bypass mute jammers?
Don't think they do. I don't think they do. You still have to send the signal from your beeper to the thing, I think.
But how? How? Because you pull the pin actively on the charge, so there's nothing to
Oh, you're
do jammed. Right, so you
You're right.
place it on the wall, and you pull the pin, and it's the det core goes around. And honestly, why are we even calling it a pocket hard breach? It looks like a darn trampoline in this kill feed, right? It's a circle with
The
a square.
classic debate. You're bringing it up. I saw this on Twitter, Chief. I saw you post it. See, trampoline, it wouldn't make a ton of sense, though, because it has nothing to do with the purpose of the item. If you think of can opener, I believe that is the other option for calling this gadget. A can opener, not only does it somewhat resemble an old-fashioned can opener, but it also opens a wall, a metallic hard wall, feeding into the can opener, meaning even more. I think I'm driving this point home, Chief. How could you possibly think it is trampoline when can opener is an option on the board? I'd love to hear your response.
Because it looks like a trampoline. That's the answer. It isn't the functionality that makes it a trampoline. And you can get split open on a trampoline. Hear me out. You know, it's a frozen day. You're a frozen human. You jump on the trampoline, and your body snaps in two because it's being, vibrated in place. Boom. Got you.
I mean, I've landed headfirst on a trampoline, broke my nose once. I mean, that's something, You can definitely get hurt by a trampoline. Can you open a wall, a metallic wall with a trampoline? That's debatable, or not really debatable. But our focus will return to round number 6. Kettering are sitting 4-1. They've got a tremendous advantage here, and at least Derp will not be taking part in this advantage, will not be taking part in this round. With a minute burned, it looks like Sharpshooter's going to keep on keeping on, keep on that pressure and that classic blue push that we've known to come and love. But look at this. We've got a Nook on the board, and a Nook that's looking to sneak on down secret if they're not careful. And so, with Sharpshooter off the board, the Nook is now going to have to make up the ground that the Zofia has left.
I'd like to see Demo pull his pin on his frag grenade and send it downrange quickly as possible. Now, he might need to have some help with that, but it seems like that opportunity has gone away. And here comes a Frank from Bucka, but he misses his shots. Actually, somehow lands it. It seems like he didn't even hit him. He was shooting on the door frame, but nonetheless, it is now a 1vx, and it is going to be a DMR, a very cumbersome weapon in a clutch scenario. It hits like a truck, but with a 3-time sight in close quarters, it's going to be almost impossible. Now, Tech does have the frag grenades. That's going to be a great way for crowd control, moving Kettering back, but you can hear Kettering moving in like sharks.
Yeah, the primary shark is going to be Bucka, the first player to attempt a possible aggressive maneuver here on the Dokkaebi, but the Dokkaebi is patient, hoping to pad the stats and maybe regroup with the team in this impossible situation. A logic bomb will reveal Bucka's position. He'll be forced to answer that phone, maybe talk to Tech a little bit there, but the conversation is going to be brief because the head of Tech has been taken clean off, and Bucka finding that shot will give Kettering the 5-1 lead that they were desperately searching for after losing one round a few rounds ago. But now we are switching sides. The second split is upon us, and the OIT defense will now be on full display.
So I want to go back to a point that we're making earlier. Apparently, the pocket thermite charge or the trampoline does not
And
detonate
opener.
even if it is muted, which is still perplexing to me because it's not like a Habana charge and it isn't like a thermite charge that has, a communication element to it, right? Where you're flipping a switch for both of those. And actually, if we think about it, Selva charges don't have any type of time gadget, right? It's not like you're, hitting a dead switch and opening up those Selma charges. You just throw it on the wall and it opens up on its own. It should be mechanical. Now, I think Jay-Z were being a little bit too literal with these gadgetries because, this game is a game at the end of the day. It doesn't have to have perfect physics. It doesn't have to, make sense. It's all about balancing and being fun.
I think that's a fair point. It's all about finding the right mix and how to get those operators all in the same playable state. And if you want to keep mute viable, you have to keep every gadget you can bring to a hard breach wall stopped by a mute jammer. That's a fair decision by the devs. You can support that for the most part, but you generally see those secondary hard breach gadgets be deployed in spots where mute jammers are rarely used anyway. Often they'll be maybe on that bottom of garage opening T1 or T2 to get a sightline onto rafters. We'll see those used on Clubhouse on a hatch or two, which can barely ever be mute jammed. So for the most part, it's not a huge question, and I think that's why we don't have the answer off the top of our heads here. But as we get into round number 7, the first OIT defense, the big difference we're already seeing from the Kettering attack is opening up this wall. It has already happened. They've already got one of those Electro Claws dealt with. The wall is now opened by those Selma charges, and Papa is going to be going for that clear from this master side. And knowing where the Oryx is positioned now, Papa will be opting to open up this wall and contest this position. Sharpshooter is going to actually swing on the angle again. A very poor decision will cost Sharpshooter almost all of the HP, but not quite their lives. But Bucka, very smartly positioned, will prevent the rotation. Good comms with the team, and the Oryx is down.
I was perplexed by the strategy that Oregon Tech was electing to bring on site. They put a deployable shield behind the B bomb chassis, and that is a great avenue to smoke off the east main breach. And that's where the strategy falls because there's a window behind that deployable shield. It's going to be a free kill for the attackers. That's a default angle to open up. It's exactly like we were talking about when you're on Oregon in our first series. It's imperative to open up that window because you have to apply pressure. Sure, it can be phantom pressure or pseudo pressure, but nonetheless, the threat of that window is going to be enough. And the threat of the gun barrels of Kettering might be just that oppressive, as it's a 1vx, an SMG-11 bro alone against the world, a sprint challenge to his demise, and things not going well for the members of Oregon Tech. They're making so many mistakes. The communication errors are costing them their lives.
The communication errors are the big problem for Oregon Tech because if you're starting out as a competitive team, even a young competitive team, the first thing that needs to be on your checklist to establish with the boys is a clear set of comms, is good coordination between each player. I'm not saying I'm expecting you to play off each other brilliantly, swing angles together, and try to play every single trade. That's not expected early on. But what is expected is you're able to call out the position of an opponent, the position of where the attackers are pressuring from. How are they getting on into the site? How are the defenders positioned? All of these things that OIT haven't quite gotten down. And well, they are the Owls, but that coordination breakdown is forcing their head to be on a complete swivel. And you can't defend or attack cleanly if you're nervous about every single angle, checking every single corner. If the communication isn't there, it just becomes so much harder to play this game in all of its aspects.
So Chief is just a little bit angry right now. He has yet to see the Maverick being played once. Now, sure, Twitch is a great operator. She can help you open up the east main wall. But at the end of the day, that Maverick is going to provide so much more utility. He can just bypass everything that is being placed on the wall by just drawing a vertical line on the topmost panel and then the bottommost panel. Plus, he has basically one of the best attacker weapons. Oh yeah, did I mention that he's a set of frag grenades? He is so versatile and strong. There's a reason why attackers ban him all the time. But like we're talking about in our previous series, he also kind of falls in that Habana meta, where or not Habana, that Mira meta, where if you're not playing with Mira, if you're not playing with her in scrims, you're not writing strategies for her, and when she's available in a live match, you're never going to utilize her.
Yeah, it's a classic problem that many young teams can struggle with, and I've seen Kettering rock the Maverick before. I know they have what it takes to rock that operator, but at least tonight, in this early round of the playoffs, Maverick not on the agenda for them. They're going with this crispy clean. They're going with that double hard breach. You've got the Ace, the Selmas, and you've got the X-Kairos pellets that Derp is bringing to the table. And the swing from the con window will be the end of Sharpshooter, and it's starting to look not super great here for Oregon Tech, as it's now match point. You've lost a man early, one of your bigger guns, the biggest gun so far in this particular map, and now your work is cut out for you as you have to really crawl the deficit back.
I will say, Oregon Tech's setup is brilliant. The long angles they have shows that they have a mastery of this bomb site. They have truly done their homework and their due diligence with map teardowns. But it requires a lot more than macro strategy to be successful. You have to still win your gunfights, and your macro strategy has to have advantageous gunfights associated with it. And if you put all of your defenders in a basket with their backs against the wall, they're going to get slaughtered, particularly by a roster like Kettering, who just wins all their gunfights. It doesn't matter if they're in good positioning or bad positioning. Kettering is going to swing on you, and they are going to win those engagements. But as we dive closer and closer to Doomsday Hour, Oregon is showing that they still want to be in the server. They still don't want to be sent down out of CR6.
Yeah, they're holding on to the last bit of hope here. A miraculous comeback is needed, but one that could start right now. Demille's going to miss the shots there, but it's the server's chance to make it happen. Snappy going to avoid death just barely, and server, a ill-timed run will result in his death. It's all up to the Jaeger. One has been taken down, only two more to find, but the peak from the top of Red Stairs will not find its target. The GGs go out as Kettering will take a clean. 7-1 clubhouse victory following a dominant 7-0 cafe victory, and will have no trouble moving on to the next round of the Open Division playoffs.
That was a heartbreaking series by Oregon Tech. They worked so hard to come into postseason, and the showing they did today was probably not that they wanted. But nonetheless, it is an accomplishment in itself to find yourself here in postseason. So, heads up, guys, on Oregon Tech. You guys did a great job today. There's a few things you guys can work on playing together as a roster, but honestly, please utilize this loss as a learning experience. Don't be too hard on yourself. You don't start out being a master from day one. It takes countless hours to achieve that. And the pro players, they've been grinding this game for millions upon millions of hours. If you want to achieve that goal, you have to emulate that.
And it is a very tough thing to do. You have to be perfect in a lot of aspects of your game, and a team like Kettering will beat every mistake out of you, and it will come to the forefront no matter what happens. We are going to be securing an interview with one of the Kettering victors. Bucka is going to be joining us, and I believe Bucka has arrived. First of all, congratulations on your victory, sir, and how are your initial feelings after that matchup?
Pretty good. Obviously just ready for next week, but this week we're moving into college, so we're just trying to get things settled from that front.
Well, in terms of your overall performance today, I think it wasn't much of a surprise that you came out on top. So I don't want to focus overly on this particular matchup. I want to look forward, just like you do, on to next week. Obviously, you may be able to predict your opponents coming up, and talk to me about how you're preparing for your next opponents and how far you expect to go in these Open League playoffs.
Uh, we're obviously scrimming a ton, practicing a ton, keeping in that tip-top shape as much as you can. Obviously, we're really looking forward to the rest of the playoffs, but we think we're going to get pretty far. But I'm not saying anything because LeBron effect is always there.
That's a great point, Chief. What do you have for him?
All I have to say, the pocket thermite charges, the baby thermite charges. Do you have a nickname for it? Do you call it the can opener or the trampoline?
I don't think we really have a nickname for those things. The secondary harbor breaches, I don't. We don't really have a nickname. We just call them what they are, and it's what it is.
Those are the important questions to ask, my friends. But on a serious note, please shout out your support staff, your university, anybody that helped you be successful today.
Again, Lucas is always a big one. I mean, always our coach Dan is always there to support us, always there cheering us on. Especially our academy team is actually in one of our other chats right now, watching and having a watch party for us. Which always great to have those guys around. Always great to have a little in-house scrimmage versus some. But great shout out to our roster as well because they did a bang up job tonight, keeping that tempo, and that's what I like to see.
Excellent. Well said, my friend. Go back and celebrate your roster. Good luck moving into your guys' dorms. But Jay Z, it has been a wild ride today. We've had some phenomenal showings, but today Kettering is going to be moving on. They had one of the strongest showings I think we've ever seen in CR6 postseason.
They absolutely did. It was a dominant one. They're sending a message to the rest of this bracket. They are here to play. They want to go all the way. They're the one seed for a reason. Of course, there are other teams that are contending for that title that may not be the one seed, but Kettering deserves to be here. They're the one seed. They're undefeated, the highest round differential, 34 rounds up in that regular season. That is incredible, to say the least. They steamrolled their opponents, and just like tonight, they're going to be looking to continue that steamrolling going forward. But for Kettering, it's only going to get harder. But for tonight, that is going to conclude our siege. We saw two great matchups. We saw lots of great teams, and we're going to see them continue to go forward. I will be back with you tomorrow night for some more epic matchups. But for myself, for Jay's Wills, for Chief, for our people in the booth, earlier it was CDC. We got Tango Mango down on the observing and in the producing, and we've got Henru right now on the observing. We want to thank you all for tuning in, and we hope you have a fantastic night. Bye-bye.
Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through?